Howdy, guys. Welcome to night 26 in the Big Brother All-Stars house. This is Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. Night 26, Sunday night, Monday morning. A lot of conversations tonight, a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. First of all, is a refresher for everyone. Remember that Enzo is the HOH. Kevin and Kazar were nominated for eviction, but Kevin on Saturday won the veto competition. So the veto ceremony is tomorrow or this morning, Monday morning, and Kevin's going to be pulling himself off. So Enzo's going to have to come up with a whole new person to put on the block, and a lot of the conversations involve that. Plus a little outside extra influence. We had a wall yeller, something like this. We had a wall yeller, so we're going to talk about that because that certainly had a little bit of an impact as well. All right, so let's start off before earlier in the evening. First of all, again, Enzo's going to have to put someone up to replace Kevin on the block. Not really sure who to do it. Kazar is a primary target, at least at the beginning of the evening. Christmas has volunteered to go up as a volunteered to go up as a pawn to send Kazar home and prove herself. Kevin later learns that this is a plan and that Christmas volunteered. Seems like it's a pretty cut and dried process. Now, Enzo and Kevin and Christmas have been talking, and drum roll please, my friends, a new alliance has been formed between Enzo, Kevin, and Christmas. The name, not official yet, but there were some suggestions about the Tickle Monster Alliance. Okay, we'll see if that sticks or not, but the Tickle Monster Alliance, we'll call it for now. Talk about potentially bringing in Memphis as a fourth person of this group at a later date. So just one more alliance to add into that long list that we already have. All right, so now the story of the night, one of the stories of the night, the wall yeller. A whole bunch of them are in the backyard. This is the first day they had the backyard. They're all back there, and they hear a loudspeaker, pretty clear, a lot more clear than the wall yellers we've had in the past, saying, Nicole and Cody are playing everyone. Nicole and Cody are playing everyone. Well, the horns go off, lockdown occurs, everyone goes inside. We lose the feeds for about 3.5 hours. But it was heard. It was heard by a whole lot of people. People responded to it inside the house. So, they talk about it later, so we know they heard what was said. Cody's been upset most of the evening, saying, "Oh, I can't believe someone would do that," and it's all lies. It's probably Janelle fans that are just trying to punish Nicole and I because Nicole and Janelle had their spat. It's not true at all. Well, yeah, kind of is, Cody. But anyway, so the wall yeller was a major issue. We lost the feeds for quite a while. So they say Cody and Nicole are playing everyone. Let's see if it has an effect going forward. Kazar was talking about it. People are trying to use it to their advantage. So we shall see. All right, a couple of quite a few conversations. Christmas and Day are talking. Davon flat out says, I don't want Kazar to go home. And she mentions that she and Bailey and Christmas and Kevin, saying all of us want to keep Kazar. What are we doing here? Christmas is saying, well, yeah, that's true, but do we have the people to do something? She says Memphis is a wild card. He won't go against the house. If we have the majority, he goes with us. She's thinking that David and Ian's votes really depend on who is on the block next to Kazar. Davon says she doesn't want to become collateral damage because she didn't take action in order not to upset the house. There's a lot of talk early in the season. Oh, I don't want to make the house mad at me. Let's just go with the flow and all that. Davon saying, I don't want to just go with the flow and go with the house, and next thing I know, I'm out the door because I didn't take a chance. I didn't take action when I could. So we're starting to see some seeds form about some resistance to this big alliance, and maybe trying to do something with it. Good. That's the kind of excitement we want. All right, another conversation. Danny and Cody are talking together. Cody's mentioning that he really likes Kevin, but he can't really help Kevin. He can't bring Kevin in because Kevin is so close to Davon right now. He thinks that Davon needs to go first, but Danny's saying, no, I think Bailey needs to go first of those two. Cody is saying, hey, Davon is the common denominator between herself, David, and Bailey. Now, really, it's Bailey. Davon and David, not so tight, but Bailey's that central connection. But he uses that as the excuse to get rid of Davon. Danny's saying, well, no, Bailey is a strong competitor. She's a much more of a threat to win competitions and such. So Danny is really shooting for Bailey, and we've heard that for the past few nights. So let's see what happens with that. Another conversation. Kazar is doing a lot of campaigning. Kazar is talking to Ian, and he's saying, hey, If Bailey or Davon or Christmas goes up, the house is going to blow up. That's going to create all kinds of ripples. It's going to be quite the effect. Well, not so much because Christmas has volunteered. If it was involuntary, then Kaiser's probably right. But the fact that she volunteered may make for a smooth next few days if it goes through. Kaiser thinks his only chance really of winning a vote is if David's on the block as well. He thinks he can beat David perhaps, but anyone else that's up against him, and Kaiser is pretty sure he's going home. So that's going to be his goal, is to convince Enzo to put David up. Conversation between Enzo and Kaiser, not an easy conversation. Enzo is pretty much saying, hey, my hands are tied. I can't do anything. Kaiser is saying, look, you're going to be a domino. You know, we need to do something together. You need to consider your renom, who you're going to throw in there. And Enzo keeps saying, well, who would you put in? Who would you put in? And Kaiser originally is hesitant, eventually says, look, David. David, I think I could beat anyone else, not so much. And Kaiser saying, look, I'm not going to make it to the end. I just want to last as long as I could. I could be an ace in your back pocket when you need me. If you just put him up and allow me to stay, you got to consider the pecking order, Enzo. You can't be at the top of it, so we've got to do something. So he's trying what he can. Enzo's kind of like, yeah, all right, we'll see. He doesn't really seem convinced at all. So soon after that, Enzo and Christmas, this is the Enzo show. Everyone's coming up to talk to Enzo in the HOA this evening. Enzo and Christmas talking. Christmas comes in and says, hey, just as a warning, Davon is coming up to propose a new group to you. And this group is going to be Davon, myself, Christmas, Enzo, Bailey, David, Kevin, and Memphis. She's going to propose this group as an opposition to that other side of the house, to the other side of the alliance, which Enzo to some degree is part of, but and so is Christmas if you look at the right alliances. But she says, Davon's coming up with it, and Enzo says, oh, okay, I'll consider it. Let's see. He says, but also, you need to win HOH next week, Christmas, and then you can take actions and do all kinds of things. But yeah, if she wants to come up, thanks for the heads up. We'll talk about it. So right after that, Enzo, Bailey, Davon are talking. Everyone is agreeing in this whole house, it seems like, that Danny is very sketchy. She's given a lot of information to a lot of different people. They agree that she's sketchy. Bailey and Davon are really pushing for a backdoor of Danny and talking about the group that Christmas mentioned and saying, look, let's get out Danny this week. She's sketchy. She's problems for all of us. Let's get her out. Kaiser's still going to be here. He's still going to be all alone next week. Danny this week, Kaiser next week. Piece of cake, Enzo. It's perfect. But Enzo's saying, yeah, how about we do this? How about we do Kaiser this week, and then we can do Danny next week. She'll still be here. Enzo doesn't want blood on his hands. He wants a nice, easy HOH that no one's going to be upset with. So he's not really to take the aggressive action of backdooring Danny just yet. Although it seems like he, at least from a lip service, is saying that, yeah, it needs to be done. I just don't want to do it this week. All right, so another conversation. This one is actually Enzo, Bailey, Davon, and now Tyler's come in. It's a slick six meeting minus Cody and Danny, who are playing games downstairs and thinking the world is just beautiful roses and nothing at all is an issue at all. Enzo is saying, hey, Kazar is going home this week. And Tyler's getting mad. He's saying, why do these people keep trying to flip when Enzo, you're so, out there saying he's going home? I'm just mad that people keep trying to change your mind. Well, eventually Tyler leaves. And at that point, Enzo tells Bailey and Davon, says, hey, Christmas is going on the block. Kaiser is going home. That's just the way it is. He says, but don't tell Cody about this previous conversation. I'm not sure why anyone would, but he says, don't tell her. We got to keep this stuff on the down low. Davon says that Enzo, Danny has got to go because she has Nicole in her back pocket. We got to get rid of her now. So we'll see how that goes. Next conversation against the Enzo show. So this time it's Enzo, Tyler, and Ian. We take a little break from the strategy talk. Ian's up there. Ian's doing a good job of laying low. His name hadn't come up a lot, and it was a few days ago. But Ian's just telling stories about being a physics teacher, crying out for Big Brother. He had some fun stories. It was kind of fun listening to Ian, but not a lot of, really no game talk at all. Just a nice little chat there. Next conversation. This is between Cody and Kevin. They had a long talk, but not a whole lot of real significance. Just them kind of, being nice to each other and trying to build the relationship, talking about how much they like each other. They're not targeting each other. And yeah, we're best buds. No worries with each other. But it did go on for quite a while. Another conversation. This is between Christmas and Enzo. Christmas, as much as she volunteered to be a pawn, suddenly she's starting to sound a lot less willing to be a pawn. She says people will think that she and Enzo are working together. He's saying, hey, I know I suggested it, but rather than me, what if David goes up instead? He's a freaking competitor. Enzo, if you put him up, Enzo, and then he doesn't go home, he's gonna owe you. He's gonna feel like he owes you something on it. Yeah, not really. I think David will be a little irritated if he gets put up and hold that against Enzo to some degree. But that's what she's selling. Enzo saying, hey, I'm a little worried if I do that Bailey and Devon, that the women may flip. Suddenly Kaiser's going to be here. David's going to go home. I don't want that. He tells Christmas, he says, look, you are the only woman in this house I trust right now. That's it. They do both agree that Danny is dangerous, so that plan is still sitting out there. But it doesn't sound like Enzo's really prepared to put David on the block as the renom. So another conversation. This is between Tyler and Cody. Tyler's a little perturbed because he didn't know that Nicole knew about the Slick Six Alliance. Apparently, Danny told Nicole, and Nicole threw Danny under the bus. She then told Tyler, said, yeah, I know about y'all. I think she said that Danny told her. So she kind of threw Danny under the bus, and Tyler's telling Cody, saying, man, I didn't know. Now I look like an idiot because it looks like I'm playing both sides because I was trying to keep it from her. And Cody's saying, oh, yeah, I guess I should have told you. I kind of forgot about that, Tyler. Sorry. But, you have that. Now they're both saying, man, he's just telling everyone everything. And yet again, Danny's name just keeps coming up for every group, every conversation in this house, it seems like. Tyler is telling Cody, saying, hey, Bailey talked to me about a possible backdoor plan of Danny. So they're kind of aware that is something that's being discussed as well. So we have that. So now a couple of final conversations. Kaiser and Enzo are talking again. Everyone's fighting to be the last person to get up in the house and in the HOH room and talk to Enzo. Just when he thinks he's done, someone else is coming in the door and he's trying to act like he's going to take a shower and all that. And they just keep showing up. But Kaiser comes back in the door. And Enzo's plan was to try to confirm some of the information he'd heard about Danny and her early dealings with Janelle. And Enzo spills the beans. He says, yeah, I got nothing to lose. I'm on the block. I'll say everything. I'll tell you the truth on everything. It's not going to hurt me at this point. Enzo confirms that Danny approached Janelle about an alliance early in the game, like the first week, and that they didn't take it because they didn't really trust her and a lot of issues. But that, yeah, Danny approached her. She was all on board to work with us and make something happen. Hazer also points out, says, man, Enzo, Cody and Tyler, Danny and Nicole, they're using you as a fall guy. They don't care about your game. They're using you as a fall guy, and don't fall for it. He's still pushing, say, put David on the block, or, and again, the bigger plan now that we're hearing is that Danny is maybe, and what's funny, Kaiser's pushing to get David on the block. He thinks that's his chance. He doesn't really have the knowledge yet, as far as I know, that there's this whole other plan about backdooring Danny that may actually save him, and he doesn't even know about it. So he may be the most surprised house guest in the whole house come Thursday if it works, if it goes through, which remains to be seen. Final conversation. I had to finally shut it down, or else y'all be waiting to reading this or seeing this at lunchtime because we'd still be talking. But Tyler and Enzo having a conversation again up in the HOH room. Pretty serious discussion about backdooring Danny. But the worry is that Danny will blow up the house and the secrets as soon as she realizes she's on the block. Because if she's put up for veto, she's going to know she's getting backdoored, or that's a plan. So they're afraid she'll spill all her secrets to the entire house, cause all kinds of fireworks. Nicole's going to be mad at everyone, and she's going to blow up everything. And so I think as I was shutting down, the decision is to keep Kazar. They're still considering it. Enzo, I think, is going to end up playing conservative. I think he'll go ahead and try to send Kazar out the door and just let someone else get the blood on their hands. But I could be wrong. We're going to find out tomorrow morning. It may be a long or a short evening for Enzo as he thinks this thing through. They'll have the veto ceremony tomorrow, and then we'll have a much better feel for what actually is going on. All right, guys, real quick, if you want some Q&A type information, TV Co-op tomorrow night, Cliff Notes, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. We'll talk a lot of Big Brother. Any questions that you have for me, give and take. We'll talk about them, and we'll figure out what's going on. Guys, y'all have a great Monday, first day of the work week. Have a great one, and I will see y'all in 24 hours, or I'll see you on the TV Co-op in just a little bit. Cheers, guys.